Over a century after the Targaryen conquest of Westeros, King Jaehaerys the Conciliator determined his heir through a great council in 101 AC, where the lords of Westeros chose Viserys, eldest son to the fourth-born child of the king, passing over Rhaenys, daughter of the elder third-born child, establishing a precedent that the crown should not pass to a woman or through a female line. Presiding over a decades-long golden age of peace and prosperity, Jaehaerys died 2 years later, leaving his grandson Viserys a wealthy, secure, stable realm at the very height of its power. A kind, amiable king well loved by his subjects, Viserys continued most of his grandfather's policies, but differed in a profound way, as his wife Aemma had only one surviving child, leading him to break tradition and established precedent by naming his daughter Rhaenyra heir to the Iron Throne. For a time, most accepted the decision, until the king remarried after his wife's death, choosing Alicent Hightower, who birthed 4 children, including 3 boys as potential successors. Though Viserys reaffirmed Rhaenyra's place as heir, a rivalry grew between the Blacks for the Targaryen princess and Greens for the Hightower queen, seeking to make her eldest son Aegon the next king. Failing to mend the rift in his house, Viserys died in 129 AC, and almost immediately the Queen and her father Otto Hightower set their plans into motion, usurping the Iron Throne. Refusing to let this treason stand, Rhaenyra was crowned Queen on Dragonstone, beginning the Dance of the Dragon civil war. As the fighting began, the Blacks of Rhaenyra Targaryen included Jaehaerys, Lucerys, and Joffrey, her sons by the deceased Laenor Velaryon, as well as her current husband, Daemon Targaryen, and their sons, Aegon the Younger and Viserys. Then there were Baela and Rhaena Targaryen, Daemon's daughters by the deceased Laena Velaryon, and finally Corlys Velaryon with his wife Rhaenys Targaryen. The Greens for Aegon II included his grandfather Otto Hightower, his mother Alicent, and brothers Aemond and Daeron Targaryen, as well as his sister wife Helaena. There were also the king's children, the 6-year-old twins Jaehaera and Jaehaerys Targaryen, as well as 2-year-old Maelor. With each side plotting to win the war, the Blacks determined to send Daemon upon Caraxes to rally support in the Riverlands, while Jaehaerys flew Vermex on diplomatic missions to the Vale and north. Lucerys, meanwhile, was sent on what they thought the easiest mission, flying Arrax to the Stormlands, where they assumed Boros Baratheon would be an ardent supporter of Rhaenyra like his father. Yet Lucerys arrived to find Aemond of the Greens negotiating an alliance, having offered to marry one of the Lord's daughters. Since Lucerys was already betrothed, the Blacks could not win Baratheon support, and Lucerys left in peace. But Aemon Targaryen still held a grudge from years earlier, as it was Lucerys who slashed out his eye during a childhood fight, and so he mounted Vhagar, the largest dragon known to exist, and gave chase, engaging in the dance over Shipbreaker Bay, where young Arrax, who was 5 times smaller than his opponent, proved no match, leading to the death of Rhaenyra's second-born child, Lucerys, and his dragon. While Rhaenyra cried and raged over the death of her son, Daemon Targaryen swore vengeance and reached out to Mysaria, his former lover and a powerful underworld spy master, to arrange swift reprisal, demanding an eye for an eye, a son for a son. A former dancing girl of Lys, Mysaria, or the White Worm Lady Misery, grew into a powerful ally for the Blacks, giving them a measure of influence and control in the green-occupied capital of King's Landing. To complete her assignment, Mysaria hired the large brute Blood, a former sergeant in the City Watch, dismissed for killing a prostitute in a drunken rage. Now working as a butcher, he was also an agent of Mysaria and took the job, eager for the great rewards promised upon completion. To aid him in this mission, Mysaria hired Cheese, a clever rat catcher of the Red Keep, expertly familiar with the secret tunnels and hidden doors of the castle built by King Maegor the Cruel. Working together, Cheese led Blood into a long-forgotten passageway, allowing entry into the Red Keep and Tower of the Hand, where Blood strangled a bedmaid, while Cheese bound and gagged the Dowager Queen Alicent Hightower. As she did every night, Queen Helaena arrived with her children to see their grandmother, only for Blood to kill her guardsmen while Cheese grabbed young Prince Maelor, introducing them as debt collectors, demanding she choose which of her sons would die. Helaena, distraught and in tears, asked that she be killed instead, but Blood refused, stating it must be a son. Unable to make a choice, Cheese warned Helaena to name a son or Blood might grow bored and rape her daughter Jaehaera, and so in near hysterics, Helaena named her youngest son Maelor, reasoning he was too young to understand what was happening, and so Cheese grinned and mockingly told the boy his mother wanted him dead, before signaling Blood, who instead cut off the head of her eldest son Jaehaera Targaryen. Blood and Cheese then escaped with the severed head as Helaena screamed in horror. But 2 days later, Blood was caught and arrested at the Gate of the Gods, trying to leave the city with the prince's head to collect his reward from Prince Daemon Targaryen. Under brutal torture, Blood revealed he was hired by Mysaria, and after 13 days died in agony. The Gold Cloaks desperately searched for Mysaria and Cheese, but neither could be found. In time, Mysaria would reappear to help Rhaenyra and the Blacks once more, but Cheese was never heard from again. This powerful act of vengeance then had further long-lasting effects, as Queen Helaena grew depressed and despondent, unable to look at her son Maelor, who she named to die. The king, meanwhile, fell to drink and rage. Consumed by such hatred, he demanded a response, prompting Sir Criston Cole to send the Kingsguard Auric Cargyle on a mission to infiltrate Dragonstone, posing as his twin brother Eric, who served in the Queensguard of Rhaenyra. On a mission of assassination, possibly against the queen or her children, he was spotted and exposed by his brother before completing the job. Engaging in single combat to the death, stories say the duel of the Cargyle twins ended when they struck each other down out of knightly duty, but died in each other's arms, while others, like Rhaenyra's Jester Mushroom, claim they suffered grievous wounds quickly and cursed each other as traitors. The depression of Helaena Targaryen grew worse as the war went on, and possibly after learning of the death of Maelor in the Reach, ended her suffering by throwing herself out a tower window. Thus, the vengeance of Blood and Cheese was complete. A special thanks to all those who contribute to CivilizationEx, like Tim, Dane the Battlehammer, Zong the Black Wolf, and Sir Rick Lone. If you'd like to help the channel, be sure to give a like, leave a comment, subscribe, and click on the links below, or else go to patreon.com/CivilizationEx, where you can gain early access to videos, vote on future content, and watch the Patreon-only series, Heroes of Lore and Legend.